Hi everyone, I'm Linda Ravallo, the Digital Marketing Manager here at Salt and Light Media. Once again, I'm so happy to welcome you to Hope from Home, the show where we bring you stories of hope from our home straight into yours. Today we bring you conversations that were recorded last week, just before Easter. Our first conversation from around the world is Deacon Pedro speaking with Father Peter Skudra of Radio Maria, Latvia. Then Noel speaks with Marie-Claude Lalonde of Aid to the Church in Need, and he learns how this papal charity is responding to the crisis. And finally, we end the program with a conversation Emilie had with husband and wife, Ben and Megan Turland, about how they plan to celebrate Easter this year. And of course, all of them will tell us where they're finding hope from our home to yours.
Father Peter Skudra, Director of Radio Maria, Latvia. Thank you for joining us right now from your home in Riga, Latvia. How are things in your country?
Yeah, well, it's today it's quite windy and cold, but if you mention COVID, then we are quite locked in our rooms. But it's not like we cannot leave our homes, so we can go out to walk, to do some exercises or jog, but we cannot meet more than one person, so we can be in either on pairs with friends or in just family members together. So we have to have distance with other people.
Right. So it sounds very similar to here. Are there businesses that are completely shut down as well?
Yeah, of course. Sports, culture, it's all down. So there are many offices still working, of course. Shops are still open. Grocery stores, but yeah, many people have lost their jobs already, like tourism,
right.
Connected to travels, all this, it's locked down. So since our borders also are locked, so yeah, there are many people without job right now.
Okay, so you've closed down the borders. Are there a lot of cases in Latvia?
Well, today, I think we crossed 400, or yesterday, so we have more than 400 people ill. Only, I guess, 3 or 4 of them are like very in dangerous state.
Okay.
But yeah, well, we had quite quick response from government. So they shut down country like on 14th of March. So it's more than 2 weeks already.
Okay.
Yeah, but we still see this number going up because last week's people from abroad were using last opportunity to come back home, and they are the big risk group.
Right. One of the things that they did here is that they closed the churches, and so there are no masses. Is that something that has happened there as well with the church?
So we are not allowed to organize public services. Churches are still open, so you can come in like in a shop. You can go pray or 2 meters away from other person and then go on your way back home or wherever you go. So priests are still saying Mass. Most of the parishes are transmitting Mass. So in 1 week, it's so interesting that in 1 week, so many churches started to live stream. It's like, mushroom rain. And yeah, but we cannot organize like public services. So it's priests, few altar servers or choir or whatever needed for recording, and that's it.
The same thing has been happening here with a lot of parishes that are streaming. Now, you are the director of a Catholic radio station, Radio Maria, in Latvia. How has the crisis affected you in your work?
Well, first week was really tough because it was Saturday evening, I think, like 6-7 p.m. when government decided, okay, let's shut down country. No meetings, more than 50 people in the same place. So it affected in the very next day, people were like, okay, we are not supposed to go to church today. So we saw that we had like 4 times more listeners on internet, connecting to internet to our podcasted masses. We immediately put more broadcasts of Mass on Sunday. Usually we had 2, now we have 3. And we also broadcast Lutheran and Baptist services in order to help those people to participate in their
okay. Okay. Are you finding that you have to add other types of content, not just liturgies? Of course, you're not just airing the mass, but to help people, I guess, weather the storm, if I can say it that way?
Yeah, well, so we still see that the most important thing people are looking for is mass. So we see how rapidly it goes up and down just right before or after the mass. Those people who connect. Of course, during the day, we ensure that there is one person on air doing either live programs or announcing some pre-recorded programs. But yeah, it's important for people to have this live connection. I'm also doing every working day morning catechesis like I did. And yeah, people call in, they write their messages and they ask questions. And of course, when the Pope came in the Friday service, it was like, I don't know, 7 times more listeners. Our internet broke down. And
yes, so did ours.
so, but it was amazing. So still people seek for the prayer. They seek for the opportunity to just to talk or to be listened or just to listen someone telling that, okay, God will take it. So
right.
What they do.
Is your church leadership, like the bishops, are they taking advantage of the media also to speak to the people or to reach out to people through your station or through other means?
Yeah, well, as I said, many churches started live streams. So also cathedrals started. Our bishop, he's doing, I think, every Sunday 8 a.m. mass on air live. And of course, for example, when there was a Pope's prayer on Friday night, Archbishop himself came to help us to translate the speech and to talk to listeners and to tell what's going on. And he was sharing his experience when he was studying in Rome. Yeah, so they also, when there is any new statement from government, bishops always react to it and they say, okay, since this situation is in country, we as believers do this or we observe this or as I think they are doing well.
I know that as director of Catholic radio station, you probably also are the voice of the church right now. We're in Holy Week, going into Holy Week. A lot of people maybe will not be able to participate in these public masses, no palms, no washing of the feet, maybe no Stations of the Cross. What kind of message would you as a priest, as a director of Radio Maria, would want to offer our viewers and anyone around the world about how to make this Holy Week a special Holy Week or special?
Recently I saw this meme that this is the Lent I was not preparing for. It's the Lent I ever had in my life. And I think we can use this time, this crisis, as opportunity to really be in a Lent. Because Lent is when we, sacrifice something. So today we can sacrifice so many things and we can do it with the joy. Because we have no other option. So either we accept it or we go on with it and we use whatever it can give us. And it can give us more time with the Lord to sit at home, to pray, to read the Bible, to read catechism, to meet our family, to call our friends, and to maybe it sounds, stupid, but offer it up. Yeah. It's what people say, but it's really it's meaningful actually. Offer it up. So what's your prayer? What would you pray to God? What would you ask to God? Or what would you be thankful to God? So offer it as a thanksgiving sacrifice, or offer it as a sacrifice asking from God something, and use it, see it as an opportunity. It's not a punishment from God. It's not last days of our times or whatever. It's your opportunity to fix your relationship with God and to grow in your spiritual life.
Yeah.
So also those who suffer that they cannot receive sacraments like confession or Eucharist. I recently read an article which was quoting Pope Benedict XVI when he was a cardinal. He wrote about this abstinence of like from Eucharist, time to time he says that it was okay, because it's kind of a way to open in ourselves this longing for Jesus in the Eucharist. That it's not a cookie we receive, every Mass, but it's really something meaningful to us. And we also can somehow identify with those people who cannot receive sacraments, like divorced people or, I don't know, remarried. Yeah.
People in other places, like in the Amazon or in some places where there are no priests, they just can't receive. It's not, that's really good advice. I know a lot of people struggle with that concept of, not receiving the Eucharist, but I think it's very meaningful. Thank you. In a way, speaking to you makes me feel that this crisis is also reminding us how small the world is, because you're so far away and we're also connected, but we're also all going through the same thing.
And I think this virus shows how actually connected we are.
Yeah.
Not like, something happens in China, who knows where China is, but it's actually so close. The world is so connected. And I think it's also about what we are invited to think about our choices. They are not our own choices. Actually, they have effect on so many people.
Exactly. Okay, lots to think about there. Thank you, Father Peter. It's been really good connecting with you. I know it's late at night for you in Riga, but thank you for the little update. And maybe, depending on how long this crisis lasts, maybe we can have you back on and you can give us more updates. Father Peter Skudra, Director of Radio Maria in Latvia. Have a blessed Holy Week.
Thank you.
Marie-Claude Lalonde, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining us all the way from Montreal. How are you?
I'm well. Despite the conditions, I'm very well. Thank you.
Good. Okay, speaking as the National Director for the Pontifical Foundation and Charity Aid to the Church in Need, Marie-Claude, how is a papal charity adapting to support the thousands of charitable projects all over the world in light of this pandemic crisis?
Well, the first adaptation, I think it's for all our national offices, for the people to work from home. This was a big adaptation, and I think at the moment, probably 80% and maybe even more of our activities are done from home. So that's the first adaptation. The second one is the limitations that we now have to contact our own donors. Yes. For instance, we cannot print in certain areas. It's difficult to print, or in others, it's the postal system. So reaching our donors is a bit difficult, but I think we're being creative, and we will manage, I'm sure.
That's good to hear. Are you hearing any great stories of kindness or anything like that that's coming out of your projects anywhere in the world?
Well, surprisingly, maybe we should not be surprised, but I was a bit surprised to see that our project partners are actually sending words of encouragement to us. We are worried about them, but they are worried about us. Because the pandemic is just starting over there. They're still doing quite well, Latin America, Africa. Asia is a bit different because some countries were already hit hard. But they are encouraging us. And one of the countries where we have partners who sent us very kind words is actually Syria. I am so worried for them because I know that when the pandemic will hit there, they don't have the infrastructures, the medical services. It's going to be very difficult. And they're just sending us good words to say, hey, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you, and we're not forgetting about you. So I find it's a very, very nice gesture. Often we do that for them, but now they're doing it for us.
Are any of the projects that you're working on having to change or adapt as a result of this? Are you moving more towards projects to help with the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, we are mainly a pastoral charity, so we will let the other NGOs do their work in terms of humanitarian help. But of course, our project partners, we know the church is always on the front line, be it the priests, the sisters, and we know they're going to help. And to be able to help, they will themselves need some help. So for sure, we will help the priests. who, for many of them now, they don't celebrate masses, so they don't get mass offerings. And they don't get collections. And for the sisters, it's the same thing. They give everything they have, but they need help to sustain themselves, to be able to work in dispensaries and help the population. So that's a bit the way we see things, but everything can change. You know, when you're watching the news that things change rapidly, well, if we need to adapt, we will.
It's great to hear. Now, one last question, Marie-Claude. What is giving you hope during this difficult time?
Oh, I think it's the solidarity that I see. As I was mentioning, the countries where we help are now worried for us just as much as we are worried for them. And I think that wave of solidarity is probably what is the most meaningful in that crisis. I just hope that we will be able to surf on that wave of solidarity even after the pandemic. But I think there's hope. Things will certainly get better, and we will join efforts to do it together.
Absolutely, we certainly will. Marie-Claude, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you, and thanks for sharing these great stories.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Ben and Megan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. And
thanks for having us. Yeah.
Now, I want to talk to you about Easter. I know that the Easter season has a really special place in your life, in your family life. Now, despite the fact that we're still living in isolation, in quarantine, what are you going to be doing to mark this season?
I think first, like living liturgically is something very fun for us. It's a way to celebrate the year more than maybe a normal person, we could say, and be able to celebrate this more days and have more fun. And even though we're in quarantine, a lot of things that we did before quarantine, even in years prior, were around in our home anyways. So we don't get to go to mass, we don't get to go to the church, which is very unfortunate. But there's a lot of traditions that we'll still get to do, and we still are able to do, which my wife is the master at these traditions.
What are some of those traditions that you'll get to do? Megan, I'll ask you to answer that question as the master.
Yeah, well, like really, some of them are really simple. Like Easter morning, we'll be having cinnamon buns, and we'll read the story of Easter morning in the Bible with the kids. One of the things that we always do for Easter is have fresh flowers in the house. So we'll have fresh flowers the entire Easter season. So we're already planning, like that's going to be something we'll have to like alter a little bit. You might not be able to get fresh flowers all the time in this season. So this afternoon, actually, I'm going to be making paper flowers with the kids. So we'll put them away until Easter morning, and then we'll take them out. So we'll have those around the house just to decorate the house. So we all like remember that Easter is a different time. We're celebrating new life and the new life of Christ.
And then one thing that we've already done, we do throughout Lent, and then when Easter seasons happens, the kids get this. But so during the Lenten season, when they do something good, they put a bean in a jar. But then on Easter Sunday, after the resurrection, it's turned into jelly beans. So throughout Easter, they get to eat out of that jar these colorful jelly beans. And it's kind of like this idea of your good works have been kind of transformed into something delicious or something like
like
fun.
The sweetness of the resurrection. Yeah, it's symbolized in those. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, why has the Easter season become such a significant part of your life?
Yeah, it's really only been recently. I had a spiritual director a couple of years ago who, during Lent, asked me how I was preparing for Easter. And I kind of looked at him confused. I was like, well, like my Lenten practices are preparing me for Easter. He said, no, like, what are you going to do for Easter, for the full 50 days? And I kind of like looked at him oddly again, and I was thinking, he asked me like someone would ask you, what are you doing for Lent? What are you taking up for Lent? And he really challenged me to really enter into the Easter season. It's 50 days. It's 10 days longer than the Lenten season, which should show us something. And it's actually the whole summit of our faith comes down to that Jesus died and rose again. So we should be like as intentionally living that season. So he really challenged me to live that and to live in the hope of the resurrection that time, and really celebrate the crux of our faith.
In the church has a lot of wisdom in its liturgical days, and the fact that it is 50 days, and we're so good as Catholics at, repentance and, like working hard and like the suffering. I think we're good at that. We're like, oh, Lent. Yeah, I'm good at Lent. Then it's like, celebrate, right? Celebrate that Jesus rose. That's why we're Catholic, right? That's why we're Christians. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, like we should do that. When Megan came home and asked me, I was like, oh yeah, we should do that. Like, that's a smart idea. And it's even like our own prayer lives is focusing on those readings, like the daily readings in Easter, and it's focusing on the resurrection and thinking about how can I be resurrected? How can I be a new version? How can I live this new life that Christ fought for me, right? Not always about like, I need to fix myself, but just celebrating and actually what he did.
Now, is not necessarily the meaning of Easter, but has it taken on maybe a different kind of meaning for you in the midst of this crisis that we're experiencing?
Yeah, totally. I think there's so much, we're surrounded by like darkness. You turn on the news and it's a lot of, every time there's something new that's hard to swallow. And so I think like we all need to remember that like Christ has already won the war, already overcome death, and to fix our eyes on that. So for me, I know I need that. I need that hope, and to just soak myself in truth that God has already overcome death for me personally.
Yeah, and when there's the focus on death and people dying and just all those like those hardships, it's a challenge to shine brighter, right? It's a challenge to step out more. The bishops are saying that, priests are saying that. It's a challenge more to be a light in the darkness. And we need to be that light, and it's that challenge as Christians, like how are we living this differently than other people, right? How can we live this with hope, right? With the view of eternal life and knowing that our time on earth is limited anyways. The Lord offers us so much more, and how can we do that?
Megan, you are the author of a devotional called Arise, which you got published last year in 2019, and it's something that I know a lot of people appreciated, and really, so this was something that was on your heart, and probably is again something that that would be beneficial for a lot of people in this season with everything that's happening. Can you tell us a bit more about that devotional?
Yeah. So last year, as you said, I wrote this devotional along with 23 other women from across Canada. So it's really a way to live Easter intentionally. So each day is either a reflection or a scripture verse to help you enter in more fully into the mystery of the resurrection. And the theme of it is Arise, and that comes from the story of the little girl that Jesus rose from the dead. He said to her, "Talita kum," little girl, I say to you, arise. And so, the devotional itself is an invitation for women to rise. So this year I decided to kind of re-release it. It's through like an email campaign, so people can sign up and receive a reflection every day to inspire them and challenge them to arise, especially in this season that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And how can they find the devotional?
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know.
Yeah, totally. On my website. Yeah, of course.
Your website.
thegoodsoil.ca. So I write a blog called The Good Soil. So if you go to the website, thegoodsoil.ca, you can find it there.
Wonderful. Now, any final words, maybe encouragement to parents who are, as we're entering this Easter season of, maybe a little nugget of what they can do as a family, something they can focus on.
Yeah, I think be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated to live out Easter intentionally. It can be really small things that, I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. I've done that in the past, that I need to do this elaborate thing to make it special.
Pinterest
Worthy. Pinterest worthy, totally. But it doesn't. Just yesterday in preparation, I took a toilet paper roll and made a candle with it with the kids, and drew on it to show that it was a Paschal candle, to teach that you have things in your house that you can use to make it special. It sounds silly, but it doesn't need to be complicated. And
you have an imagination.
Yeah,
they can easily see that this paper roll is a flaming light. And during Palm Sunday, they painted palms on cardboard again, and we marched around the living room, and it was this great family prayer time. And it's
our 3-year-old and 2-year-old were saying, "Hosanna to the King!"
We're gonna remember that, and it's it's better to make it memorable. And everything's always about change, and innovation, and it's never the same every week, every month. So you just gotta try your best, and
I love it. Thank you. It's I think that your approach is really great. You seem to have a lot of joy, and just again, the simplicity, as you said, and I can really tell just you seem to be having a lot of fun too with all of this. So thank you for taking some time, and God bless you all and your family during the Easter season.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I found it so interesting to learn how the people in Latvia are having a similar experience like ours. And it was also interesting to learn how those countries that Canada usually helps out through organizations like Aid to the Church in Need are now expressing their care and concern for us too. Also, Ben and Megan Turland made me wonder how I celebrated Easter this year. Share with us how you made Easter special with your families. Follow Salt and Light Media on all of our social media platforms and comment your stories with the hashtag #HopeFromHome. Share with us how you are finding hope during this time. If you missed any part of the episode and you'd like to watch it again, visit our website, saltandlighttv.org/HopeFromHome. That's all for today. We hope that these stories inspire you to stay positive and remind you that we're all still connected together through hope.